Hi, and welcome to day 14 of our study on James. My name is Sarah, and today we're going to be reading James 3:6, which says, "The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell." Wow, what a verse. To be honest, I laughed when I found out this was the verse that I was going to be giving a devotion on because I honestly find it discouraging and unfulfilling all on its own. I mean, we can find some obvious applications where we see what it says about the tongue to be true playing out in our lives. Can I think about the last time that I had to clean up the mess from my tongue burning down a relationship when I spoke too rashly? Or can I think about the last time that my tongue boasted about myself and was busy building my kingdom instead of God's kingdom? Or can I think about the last time that my tongue spewed bitter envy about someone and spoke poorly about someone who was made in God's image? Yeah. So the application is, don't do those things anymore. Easy, right? But it doesn't feel easy. In fact, it feels really hard. And so my question for you is there even hope for my tongue? Verses 7 and 8 make the picture seem dim. They tell us that while men have conquered all sorts of creatures, not one has ever conquered the tongue. Bummer. And yet, James also makes a very convincing argument that it is extremely hypocritical to praise Jesus with your tongue one moment and then the next go and talk bad about your brother who was made in God's image, all with the same tongue. So is James saying you need to learn to control your tongue and you're a big hypocrite if you don't? And then in the next breath saying, but good luck because it's impossible? Is that the kind of God that we serve? I think that the hope of this passage is found in a God who loves us enough to call us to a higher standard meant to give us life. But not only a God who calls us to a higher standard, but a God who also enables us to live up to that higher standard by his Spirit. So, is there hope for controlling my tongue? Well, let's go back to that discouraging verse that talked about how while humans have tamed all sorts of things, they have not yet been able to tame the tongue. Here's an encouraging thought for you. Verse 3 talks about how men have tamed horses by putting bits in their mouths. Now, I don't know that much about horses, but I have seen enough horse movies to tell you that that horse did not tame itself. Just as no man has ever tamed his own tongue, no wild horse has ever decided to stop being a wild horse and leave behind all of its wild ways on its own willpower. That's laughable. It had to have someone more powerful than it to be tamed. And it had to learn how to submit to that one more powerful than it. We are the same way. No man has ever tamed the tongue. But if we, like horses, submit to God, the one who's greater than us, then we too can have hope of living a life that's not destroyed by a tongue set on fire by hell. So, is there hope for my unruly tongue? Verse 3:17 says that if we have the wisdom that comes from heaven, then we can live a pure life. There's hope. If we live by the wisdom that comes from heaven, we can walk in purity. This seems too good to be true. You mean to say that our unruly tongues can be conquered, our temptations withstood, our sinful nature put to death, all by simply having this wisdom that comes from heaven? Awesome! Where do I get it from? I'm setting you up because we've actually already seen where this wisdom comes from. In James 1, he writes, "If anyone lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault." We have a promise here. God is saying that even though our tongues are a world of evil, corrupting the whole body, setting the whole course of our lives on fire, and are themselves set on fire by hell, even still, God is saying that he wants to generously give us everything that we need to live in victory. He just needs us to be willing to believe that he is big enough to tame our unruly tongues and good enough to give us the wisdom that we are in such desperate need of. Is there hope to tame our tongues? Yes. God generously gives us his Spirit to walk with us and to lead us into his wisdom. Now the question is just, will we submit to it? Are you a horse that is refusing to be broken, or are you daily seeking for God to lead you by his wisdom and to give you victory over your tongue? So what's our role? 1, ask God for his wisdom and ask for his help in taming whatever it is in your life that you're finding that you have no control to tame on your own. 2, when you ask, believe that he will actually give you his spirit to walk with you and to teach you how to walk with him. But number 3, be careful not to be like the demons who simply believe in God and do nothing else about it. James 2:19-20 says, "You believe there's only one God, and you do well to believe this. But the demons also believe it, and they tremble with fear." Don't be silly. Recognize that if the faith that someone has isn't accompanied with works, it's a useless faith. You believe that God will help you overcome your temptation with your tongue? Good. Now work as hard as you can with all the strength you have, which God is giving you to play your part. Bite your tongue, count to 10, set boundaries, listen to God's Spirit convicting you, and then do what he says, even when you don't like it. Submit yourself like a wild horse to its master. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you.